Hey, what's happening, everyone? SirJames coming at you guys with another video, and in today's video, I'm here to talk about the Nintendo Switch. So if you have not been up to date on your information, then this video is going to be right for you. And of course, I'll let you guys know towards the end of this video whether or not I'll be getting it on launch or waiting for a later point in time. First off, let's go ahead and talk about its release date and price point. Starting with the release date, usually when a new console comes out from a company, they usually come out towards the end of the year, especially to get ready for the holiday sale. Not the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is actually going to be releasing early 2017. How early? Well, March 3rd to be exact. So again, it's just around the corner. And the price? Well, it was currently rumored to be $250, which I was hoping that'd be the price, but its official price tag is $300, or if you want to get a little bit more technical, $299.99. Up next, I'm going to go ahead and talk about its modes because the Nintendo Switch has 3 different modes. Mode number 1 is console mode, meaning that the system is currently in its dock and you're using your standard TV to play your games. Option number 2 is called the tabletop mode, where you remove the tablet from the stand, enable its little kickstand and play it that way. And option number 3 is the portable mode, where you take the controllers, which by the way, for future reference, the controllers are called the Joy-Cons. You take the controllers, attach it to both sides of the tablet, and have it as a portable device. So again, you have your console mode, tabletop mode, and portable mode. Simple as that. Which in my opinion, I think is pretty cool because it has some innovation and of course some unique features to it that Sony and Microsoft has yet to do. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about its resolution. What can you expect in terms of the screen quality? From what it stated, that if you're playing it on the console mode option, you're looking anywhere between 900 to 1080p depending on the title. As for the portability mode, when you remove it from its docking station, you're looking at a 720 display max. And of course, as far as games go, if the games are supported in 60 frames, you'll get 60 frames whether it's in console mode, even in its portable state as well, so you don't have to worry about frames being locked when you take it on the go, so that's always a plus side. Next up, of course, is the battery life. Nintendo did state that you're looking at anywhere between 2.5 to 6 hours max for its battery life, but it really depends on what you're doing with the device. So in this case, if you're playing a game that's very heavy, there's a lot of stuff happening in game, then you're looking at a much shorter battery life. If you're playing a game that doesn't have much going on, for example, the default title that they talked about is the new Legend of Zelda game, you're looking at about 3 hours for that one. However, on the positive note, even though it does have a weak battery in general, it does use a USB-C as a charging option, so meaning that if you have one of those little portable battery packs, you'll be able to plug something into that, as long as it's a good one. If you have like one of those cheap ones, it's not really going to work out too well, but if you have a decent sized little portable battery pack, then you should probably squeeze out another at least an hour or so, depending on which one you go with. Simple as that. And of course, next up is in terms of its memory. As far as we know, the Nintendo Switch, or at least what's been stated, is going to have a 32 gigabyte internal memory. Even though that is pretty weak, especially if you're downloading a big game that happens to be 13, 15 gigabytes, that's really not going to help out much, especially with just a measly 32 gigabytes. But on the positive, you can upgrade the storage by using micro SD cards. Right where the docking station is, there's like where you're able to enable the little kickstand for it. There's like a little slot there for a micro SD card, which is where you put in, and the maximum goes up to, I believe was stated at 256 gigabytes, which is the highest that I've seen so far for a micro SD card. So that is how the storage will work out. But in this case, as for the games, since the device doesn't use a CD slot of any kind, the games will be as a cartridge. So again, the device is very similar to the Nintendo 3DS, which makes sense because for Nintendo, I feel like their handheld market is probably the main thing that they're dominating. So incorporating what they've done with consoles and their handheld systems kind of into one unit, I think is the smart move that Nintendo has done here. So that is how that is going to work out. Speaking of the controllers, as he stated, the controllers are called the Joy-Cons, and basically there's a few different things with it. There is motion based. They have like this 3D rumble feature, which they showed a weird demo where this guy was on stage. He was shaking the controller like he had like an ice drink. He's like, you could hear the ice cubes in the controller. It was a weird little demo, but one of the main games that they showcased with it was called 1-2 Move. So that's an optional game right there. It's not something that you'd be able to play by yourself. It's something that you'll need to have a friend or family member to play with you. But there's like several little mini games in it. I think it's a launch title, by the way. I can't remember top of my head for that one. But again, that was a weird game to showcase. They showed a lot of weird things in general, and some people weren't too happy about, or some people didn't care about. They were kind of more concerned about what can we get on launch and so forth. Another thing to talk about is for the Nintendo Switch, you can connect up to 8 units at once. If you happen to have like a massive multiplayer game, you have that option. As far as games go, I know any game that has a split screen mode, you're not limited to split screen mode just on console mode. So if you are in the tabletop mode, you could still have that split screen option. Just keep in mind it'll be at a lower resolution, but it'll still be there available on the little screen. So that's always nice to have if you happen to be in a situation where your family members share the same TV and you had to play as a portable unit. Again, you also have that option kind of go with. So technically that works out. Now, probably one of the biggest news that I'm actually very happy with is there is no region locking on the Nintendo Switch. So meaning that if you have a US certified Nintendo Switch and you import a game from Japan, bring it over here and put it into your US version console, you will be able to play the game. In the past with all the other Nintendo devices, basically if you had a US platform and you import a game from Japan, it would not work on your US system. You would have to get the system from Japan to play those Japanese titles. It was a big hassle, but it's about time Nintendo has finally released the chains of that, because they should have done that a long time ago in my opinion. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a big negative for Nintendo, is the fact that they're going to incorporate some type of online payment option. As you guys know, if you have a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, you have to pay for this online membership in order to play multiplayer games over the internet, which is a little bit of a big hassle, kind of unfortunate, but Nintendo is going to be doing the same thing. It's not going to be coming out when the Switch comes out. It's stated it's going to be starting in late 2017. They didn't really specify too much information, but I did read in an article, and again, you can consider this information as rumor right now, but the article stated that the way Nintendo's going to be doing it is that they're going to be offering free games monthly, like, PlayStation Plus or Games with Gold. But the way this is going to work out, which again, I'm hoping this is complete BS, because it stated that, let's say you get Kirby for the month of January, and that is going to be your free game for that month. So let's say that month ends, you're now in February. That means that game that you got free in January, you will no longer be able to play in February unless if you buy it. If that's the case, that would be a stupid move for Nintendo to do, and let's hope that's not the case. But like I said, we're a little bit of a long ways away. Again, we're supposed to get more information as time goes on, but hopefully nothing too bad. But like I said, the whole point is that now you're going to be looking into having to pay to play online, which is not good news in my opinion. Now next up, let me go ahead and talk about the games, because as far as games go, Nintendo Switch doesn't have a strong lineup of games on its release, but they have some interesting titles on the way. First off, one of the biggest surprises is that new Legend of Zelda game that's supposed to be coming out, which we thought was going to be delayed until later on this year, is actually going to be a launch title, which is probably right now the only game that I'll be getting with the system. And of course, they also showcased a new Mario Odyssey game, which looked pretty interesting. They have a new Fire Emblem games on the way, which is going to be more of a Dynasty Warriors clone, which looks pretty cool. Some Dragon Quest titles. There's also going to be some more third-party support. And one of the big surprises that a lot of us knew already, because we've seen it from the early trailers, is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is also going to be coming out on the Switch, so that is also awesome to have Skyrim on the go. I don't know what kind of battery life we can expect for that one, but that's going to be fun to play nonetheless. But overall, what do I think about the Nintendo Switch? I like the concept, I like the idea, because I felt like their console for the most part is a little bit of a weak side compared to their handhelds, which was the strongest side for Nintendo. But having a combination of both on a particular platform such as the Nintendo Switch, I feel like is a smart move from Nintendo. I wish the battery life was better, to be honest, and I wish there was more memory for its internal storage, but maybe in the future with a new release of whatever the next system will be called. As far as its launch lineups, like I said, the launch lineups extremely weak except for Legend of Zelda, which is something that I will be getting with it. And of course, we can expect some other big titles to come out as time goes on. But let me know what you guys think about the Nintendo Switch in the comment section down below. And as you probably already guessed it, yes, I will be getting the Nintendo Switch. I already have mine pre-ordered, which, by the way, as far as pre-orders go, there are two options you can go with, and there's some bundle options, but the basic options, you have the gray model, which it comes with the gray Joy-Cons, which is going to be the color variation here, or there is another variation. It's the same exact price, $300, but you get a blue and red Joy-Con controller, which happens to be a popular choice amongst pre-orders, at least what I've been seeing, because that's the first one that seems to go. But of course, if you don't happen to get the blue and red option, you can always get those at a later point in time, because you could buy the controller separately if that's something that you are specific with. And of course, based on what I've seen for accessories as far as pre-orders go, there's already third-party developers out there making all sorts of accessories. There's already a skin for the system in the development that you can pre-order through Amazon. All kinds of different things. But again, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.